Teaching with proper communication. Many times, students are put into stressful situations all because the teacher was not able to effectively communicate the expectations and instructions to the students. This leads to many negative things that affect the students, like their confidence. People that are pursuing a teaching career must be able to have good communication. Without this important skill, students will not know how they should properly execute an assignment and will not be comfortable sharing their issues and concerns with the teachers since there is not a positive classroom environment. I am a horseback riding instructor, and I am trying and have been trying to find ways to improve good communication with my students. There is always room for improvement in all aspects of people's lives, and especially in teaching. I want to be able to keep my students safe and allow them to grow in their knowledge and their skills while keeping the learning environment positive and healthy. I will be talking about some main things that get in the way when it comes to proper communication, and the receiver being able to decode the messages properly. One of these reasons is that a teacher has to understand that they cannot communicate with a young child in the same way that they can with an adult. Another thing that gets in the way is noise barriers, taking away attention from the receiver. All these things can be mitigated by effective communication and techniques to try and bring more clarity to the students or the receiver. As a teacher, you must understand that you must talk to children differently from adults. The reason being is that adults have more education and experience in life compared to children. Since adults have more education and experience, it doesn't take as long to explain a topic to them. Children don't have a lot of experience in education, so you must think of a way to encode the messages so they understand what you're trying to teach them. Adults and children also have a different level of attention that is available to them. Brain balance, an organization that strives to help educate teachers on what is happening in the student's mind, states, children's attention span is naturally far shorter than adults, as they are more easily distracted and need frequent breaks to rest their minds and exercise their muscles before they can resume their concentration. Since children's attention spans are far shorter than that of an adult, make sure to set reasonable expectations for how long they should be able to focus on you before they need to take a break. Their attention spans will improve over time with the more that they learn and the older they get. Another reason you have to communicate with children differently than adults is because children are a lot easier to manipulate since their brains are still developing. They are constantly learning new words and behaviors from the adults around them. They also don't have a wide range of vocabulary yet, so adults usually speak to children with smaller words just because children don't understand more complex words yet. Adults and children might have differences when it comes to communication, but noise barriers affect all people. Noise can create a barrier that makes communication difficult for everyone. Helen Beaver states, communication noise is described as any barrier preventing an effective communication process. When a form of noise disrupts the communication process from the sender to the receiver, it is considered communication noise. There are multiple different types of noise barriers, but there are three main types of noise barriers that affect people. There is physical, sociological, and psychological noise. Helen Beaver goes on to explain each of these three noise barriers, saying, physical noise includes the sounds created around you every day. Any disturbance or interference that comes from an external source is considered a form of physical noise. It occurs externally and may distract you from what you are trying to hear. Physiological noise occurs when you encounter a barrier to hearing. It could be a barrier you create, or it may be an issue with another person speaking. Physiological noise is any physiological issue or health state that interferes with you paying attention to the message being communicated to you. Psychological noise refers to the noise in your head that can prevent you from concentrating. It may include wandering thoughts, like switching topics too early, making it difficult for the listener to follow your narrative. An example of each is a baby crying, physical, talking too slow or too fast, sociological, and sarcasm, psychological. There are a couple ways to try to overcome these barriers, but there is one big one that works the best. You need to try to figure out where the noise is coming from and what type of noise it is, and see if there is any way that you can plan to remove as many noise barriers as you can as a teacher to keep your classroom a great listening area. Noise barriers are a serious issue when trying to inform someone of something important. There are ways to better one's communication. There are many techniques in effectively communicate with others of any age. First thing is to do your best as a teacher to create a positive learning environment. Positive learning environments make kids comfortable sharing ideas and asking questions. Positive environments also help the student's participation and the relationship between the teacher and student. The second thing is active listening. Active listening is an important and extremely effective way to improve communication. When the teacher practices active listening, it sets an example for students and in turn improves their listening skills. Active listening shows students the teacher understands and values them, creating a positive environment. Poor listening skills result in misunderstandings between the people that are communicating. This is why it is important to practice active listening. Third thing is the importance of feedback. Feedback is a crucial skill to build people and students' abilities to learn and grow in the communication skills. The speaker or teacher must know when to use positive and negative feedback in certain situations. Both are helpful in certain situations and amounts. The teacher needs to understand the differences between positive and negative feedback and how the two different types work together. It is also important and great for the teacher if they allow students to give feedback to them so that the teacher can get better at communicating and teaching the class. The last one is body language. Body language is one of the most important ways to communicate with someone. Body language changes everything about communication and how people interpret what the speaker is saying. Bad body language is when the person has their arms crossed over their body or their legs crossed. Their body language doesn't seem very open, and this causes people to not want to communicate with a person with negative body language. Teachers must be able to properly communicate with students, be able to determine how they must talk to different age groups, and be able to locate and get rid of noise barriers for their classroom so that the students can properly learn. All these points help teachers and other instructors better themselves and then their students through proper communication, understanding and mitigating barrier noises, and understanding age differences. Communication not only affects teaching and teacher-student relationships, but also has the impact to affect someone for the rest of their lives.